And we're live again. Wessex Ways. Right, let me get this right. Series 2, Episode 5. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's right.
I'm not correcting you because I haven't got a clue.
Well, you're clueless.
I am clueless. I've no idea
Why would you know? So, yes, we for any newcomers, thank you for joining us. We talk about basically southern England, don't we? Sort of the area traditionally known as Wessex, and anything from transportation through to rights of way, paths, wild camping, walking, history, anything, and probably today trains as well.
Oh, yes.
Oh, this is good news. I'm going to enjoy this.
So I'm Hedley Thorneh. I'm here with Kate Smith and Paul Whitewick as normal.
Whee!
So, salt paths.
Is that where we're starting?
I think so.
We're starting the proper...
You sent me kind of homework almost to watch one of your videos, and I did get 2/3.
It's an arduous task. It really is.
I loved it. I get short on time.
It was great fun. The weird thing is I've been meaning to do something on salt paths for years, and then all of a sudden this controversy came out, which I'll contextualise in a second. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, my goodness me, what an opportunity. So I needed to kind of jump a bit quick and get on this bandwagon's the wrong word, but Yeah.
Let's start. Tell me more, because I've seen like headlines and I know that there's been some form of controversy, but it's passed me by. So, Mr. I've made a video about it. Tell us more.
Well, there's a book which came out, I think in like 2017-ish maybe, written by somebody called Raina Wynn, and it did very well. It sold like 1 million copies within a year or two. So successful, she wrote 2 more books. They made a film starring Gillian Anderson, I think X-Files.
Yeah, and she was in The Crown. She was Margaret Thatcher in The Crown.
Sex Education.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
She does a very good English accent.
Does she?
I think she's either American or Canadian. I can't remember which, but she's actually...
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
She's Lady from the X-Files, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she played the part of Raina Wynn. Mm-hmm. So it was a true story. And it was like this heartbreaking true story. This couple had a really bad business venture with somebody, and they lost a ton of money. Within a week, they lost their house. And within that same week, the husband of Raina Wynn, Moff, he was diagnosed with CBD, which is a degenerative disease, I want to get this right, which means it's irreversible. You've got it, you're going to last, they say, between 6 and maximum of 12 years. So that was all that, and it's this heartbreaking story. They said, right, I'll tell you what, let's just walk. And so they walked around what they referred to as the Salt Path, which is what they call the whole coast of Devon.
So this is because it's coastal.
Because it's coastal,
nicknamed the Salt Path. Yeah.
And I remember at the time I was thinking, I've never seen that referred to the Salt Path. Salt Path's normally inland, I'm sure. I don't know why, but normally inland. So, and I just left it. And then all of a sudden this week, a lady whose name I will not remember, but works for the Observer, reporter, journalist, investigative journalist, she uncovered this massive story where somebody from Wales had got in touch and said, you should look into this because none of this is right. And she got in touch with a few people, started doing digging in terms of their story, and found out that none of this really added up in terms of the picture. And I think
interesting
because of the fact it was made into a film, I think that's why it sort of runs deeper in terms of a bit.
Sort of artistic license.
Yeah, because you hear people of stories that there was some guy that made up a story. What he said it was a true story, but it was him recovering from drug addiction. And it turned out that he made loads of it up, and no one really cared because okay, well, fine, whatever. It didn't affect anybody. But this affected a lot of people because number one, 2 big things for me. There's a lot of things, but 2 big things were. They didn't have a bad business venture. They stole money from a former employee to the tune of £64,000 allegedly.
Wow.
And that former employee, one of the couple it was like a couple that ran this little company, literally a little company. He's now died long ago, and his wife was just in tears saying, "This is so sad because this is not the story. My husband's been robbed of the real story here."
Yeah.
So there was a massive thing. They stole money. They then borrowed money to pay this 64 grand back because the police got involved. And when they borrowed the money, that was against their house, and their house got taken back because they couldn't pay the money back. So that's what happens when you take out a loan, you can't pay the loan back. That's one big part. Number 2, the illness. Well, now it's been 18 years since he was diagnosed with this degenerative illness that all medical experts say, God, if you live to 12 years, you need 24/7 around the clock care.
Yeah.
And 18 years and he's walking fine, he's moving around the place, all good. Again, this is all allegedly, these aren't claims I'm making, just to put that out there so I don't sue anybody. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to make the real story of the salt paths, what the actual salt paths were. So that's the context.
Yes.
If that makes sense. I feel like I'm waffling a lot, guys.
No, it's all right.
So
Just tell us
as
now.
long as you're sure.
Where specifically did they claim to walk?
Right, so they said they walked. I'm not suggesting they didn't walk. They said they walked 630 miles around, largely starting North Somerset, like let's say the Severn.
So the peninsula,
basically.
All the way around the peninsula, and then back up to kind of like, I guess, Dorset. All the way around the bottom to Dorset. And they said, right,
I've gone the wrong
when
way
you go in and out, around under the bottom, come out like, I don't know, Dorchester or something, whatever. And that was 630 miles. Happy days. And she implied, she didn't say it, but she implied that this somehow reversed the condition. And she was quite explicit in the way she put that. She didn't say, this is doing this. But goodness me, look, it shows that he's getting better. And everybody that then had that disease, it's quite a rare disease, they kept on finding that people were telling them to read this book. You can walk and you can cure this. And they were like, what? You can't. No. This is wrong. This is really, really bad misinformation. So it's not just a case of this guy making up a story and who cares because it didn't affect anybody. This affected the lives of a lot of people in a really negative and bad way. And so good on the person that did the journalism, I say, because this is journalism that is in the public interest, for sure. So anyway, my salt paths.
Yeah. What is a salt path?
You mentioned inland, right?
Inland. Every time you see on an old map or a new map, you'll see salt way, salt path, salter's lane. And I've always seen these and thought, I wonder what the story of that is, because we're nowhere near the sea here, people. This is like the Cotswolds, North Oxfordshire, all these random places which are like, in this country, is Britain as far as you can get from the sea, like 60, 70 miles. And I've never really looked into it. And then when I started looking into it for this video, there's so many more.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, salt barn, salt farm, you get really local names.
Can I ask a question? So there's a couple of places up north where they've got places called Salter's Gate, because obviously we have gates because there's a lot of Viking stuff, but they tend to get with a P. It'll be PS for Salter's Gate.
Really?
Is that the same, or is that a different
I think
thing?
that's probably more religious.
Oh, okay,
Really?
yes,
Because
of course.
Salt, that's a religious term, isn't it? Salter.
Is it?
But
I'll
also,
tell you what, I'm going to look that up at some point.
I will do that whilst we're...
You do that.
Yeah.
So this isn't just exclusive to down south, because I live down south, so it was easy for me to find these.
Well,
and then look at
obviously,
them.
yeah.
But you're right.
I'm going to come and sprinkle some northernness into everything
Do that
where I
because-
possibly
do that because
can.
I'm very ignorant of anything past the M4.
Fair.
Which is...
Do you know that a place called Watford Gap exists?
It's funny you should say that. Have you seen the video that Auto Shenanigans did on the Watford Gap?
No, I haven't.
Because I'm in it.
Are you?
Well, I get a mention from John.
Oh, okay. Is that his name?
John.
Yeah.
He's mentioned a Roman road and turns to the camera and says, "Don't worry, Paul, I'm not going to do Roman roads." And all of a sudden I got all these messages. Anyway, so the salt paths, salt ways, all these different ways. If you trace them, and I did this map, because this is just this, my Google Maps is a joyous thing. Not Google Maps, my Google Maps, right?
Yeah.
You may have used it, you guys. You can make your own map. Like just draw lines and plot stuff. And
Oh, cool.
it's just beautiful. So I drew all these salt lanes and salt paths that I could find on the map. So I put them on my Google map. And it's such a wonderful thing because they all point to Droitwich.
Droitwich?
Droitwich. Right?
I don't know. No offence to anyone listening to this who lives in Droitwich, but I didn't think that all roads led to Droitwich.
All roads lead to Droitwich.
There
Which
we
is a
go.
beautiful thing. So the which meant salt. The old name for the Latin name, the Roman name, was Seleni.
Okay.
Du Bavarum, which is a Duboni tribe that you were there before. So all of a sudden you've got this massive context of crikey. Well, this is Roman, and this is pre-Roman, because there's loads of Iron Age stuff in Droitwich. So all of a sudden we have this continuity that salt was being used for over 2,500 years at least, because the Romans made a beeline there.
Yeah.
Literally made a beeline to Droitwich, made a beeline to a lot of other places. And all of a sudden, you got this continuity of 2,500 years. And now you think, hang on a minute, where are they all going? Well, they all end either on the Ridgeway, the other end, or the Thames. So Droitwich to the Thames, Lechlade, Droitwich to Prince's Risborough, more your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Which is the Ridgeway. So all of these salt paths coming out of Droitwich lead to somewhere where you're going to transport it.
Yeah.
It's like my mind was blown. I go, this story is better than some made up batshit. Yeah.
So I'm just interested now, because why does Droitwich somewhere where salt was produced?
Yes, sorry, that more context I was completely skipped over.
Yeah.
Droitwich has salt, not aquifers, like springs.
Oh, okay.
Really
okay.
rich, 10 times the salinity of the sea.
Amazing.
So you get literally that's like the Red Sea. You can float in it. And it's still producing. It's like 200 metres up below the surface of Droitwich is these salt aquifers.
It's Droitwich Spa, isn't it? They call it Droitwich Spa, right? And that will be why. Of course.
Which is managed to get hold of the lovely Dave from Cruising the Cut. Who apparently is from that neck of the woods, and he took me loads of footage from Droitwich, all the Roman stuff, because there's so much I didn't realise.
Awesome.
So big thanks to Dave from Cruising the Cut, although you won't be listening to this, I'm sure, but that saved me like a day.
Going back to your your spelling of it. So he says there is a road called Salter Lane, with a P, in Sheffield, and the name is believed to be a modification of Salter's Way, SALT, a historic trade route for salt.
Wow.
So it
changed to Salter Lane to attract wealthier residents. So the P is to
this
attract.
isn't just Droitwich, there's a few more. I'm not going to go into detail now, but again, there would be more up north.
Well, because I was thinking of trying to drag us creaking and screaming out of Wessex for a second and heading over towards East Anglia. Now, obviously, Malden salt is probably the most famous salt in the world.
Is Malden in the sea?
Malden is in Essex. I don't actually know where in Essex it is, but I wonder if there's more in that area as well. I wonder if there's more salt paths around there.
I bet there is.
Interesting, really interesting.
So I thought, I'm going to go and walk a few of these because there's something else called the White Way, same principle. That was Droitwich to Cirencester and probably further south. And then the Romans used it. Again, I've told you all that. But it's just wonderful. I thought this is such a cool story of real... And you can go then to the Doomsday Book, right? So 1086 or whatever it was. And you can look at what... Droitwich was like the second or third biggest value of town in the country.
That's incredible,
More
isn't
than
it?
Birmingham, Newcastle, all these big kind of... Droitwich was like, oh my God, it's valuable, guys. And that was written in the Doomsday Book. And you can tell that Princess Risborough Doomsday Book entry is all about the salt men. And they would literally be pack horses, carts, and they also even mentioned men carrying salt on their back.
Oh,
so
really?
Literally people that obviously couldn't even afford like a cart
The Ridgeway
and a horse.
would be perfect for that. Because it's literally historically a bridal
Which
way.
works for Princess Risborough, right? So Princess Risborough was like a trading centre, bowl accounts for that.
Salt was so vital because salt was your way of preserving things. In the days before we had fridges, that's what they used. So you'd get to autumn or Michaelmas, and you would take in your animals and stuff that had been and your fruit and vegetables, everything would be going in for storage for the winter. And the only way to store things through the winter so that you had enough food to last was to preserve it in salt.
And I think the Romans also used to eat things like oysters and stuff, which again would need to be
covered in salt.
Oysters were barrelled in salt, or they'd be barrelled in brine or salt. Yeah, basically, which is the same thing, right? But with more water in it.
So that's kind of been my last couple of weeks, really. Just enjoying. Video did okay. It's on like 90,000 views now. It's not the best ever, but I just thought, I don't care because it's so interesting.
Some of us dream of 90,000 views.
It's all relative.
That's
all relative.
Wembley Stadium.
It's all relative. It's true, but it's all relative.
Yes. Yeah. No, it is all relative. Yeah, I know.
I used to moan
about
godlike
YouTube account. Yeah.
Not at all. Right? It's all relative. It is all relative.
I got monetised. I got £3.
Well done, Hedley.
1,500 subs, and I got £3 on my last video.
That's
which
all good. It's all good.
Spent on a hot chocolate. So
wicked.
There you go. Well done.
It's good.
Awesome.
You should start a Patreon.
Yeah, I could do
because then you get more than £3.
I think you need fans for that though.
I'll subscribe to your Patreon because I don't subscribe to his.
No, I don't.
So that might
the fact
be annoying.
Kate's in some of my Patreon videos. So
I
you
am.
think
He used me for Patreon content to make more people. You did, and then patronise my driving at the same time.
Did I actually? I do remember that, but I don't remember what I said. What did I say?
You were like, go ahead here. You're doing really well.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, you did. Thanks for that.
That was clear sarcasm.
Thanks for that. I mean, you have been a victim of my road rage.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, that was a different occasion.
It was, and it's a story that we can't really tell on YouTube right now because I think we'd probably get in trouble because I swear in it quite a lot. As an old man who deserved it.
To be fair, the outtake video I had to beep quite a bit.
Yeah, you did. I swore so much that day. so much.
Yeah.
Had I known you were going to make a Patreon video, an outtake video of that, I might have sworn less. But the Patreon video was basically purely me swearing,
It was
and
a lot of language. Wasn't
it
it?
added to the charm.
I think it did.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the salt ways, salt paths, salt lanes. Just wonderful.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
lovely
not,
little story.
It's not sort of something that I knew much about at all.
No, not me.
I knew nothing about
But
it.
the more you think about it, places like the Ridgeway effectively were coast to coast.
Yeah, and now we've got proof.
And now-
Because
yeah.
in the Doomsday Book, it kind of pretty much
Yeah.
says Princess Risborough is a trade route. Where's it going from Princess Risborough? Because they ain't got the Thames, right?
No.
So just go. Yeah, love it. It's not a story, that's the wrong word, but it's a journey of people. And I loved it.
That is still a story, though, in
Yeah,
my
true.
view.
Yeah, fair
But
play.
you know me, I think that anything can be made into a story if you
Yes, very true.
if you
frame
look
it
at
right.
it
But
in
the
the
point
right
is,
way.
like you say, you guys never knew anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. And that's literally all of my videos. People think I know stuff. Well, I don't. I just research it week to week.
And actually, I think going back to what you say about the original book and this film and all of that,
Yeah.
I've never heard that called the Salt Path, and I
No.
think it's doing an enormous disservice to those paths that have been built in all those
Yeah.
areas. There are some wonderful walking routes around the coast, the southwest coast of Britain. There's some
Yeah,
gorgeous
good
walking
point.
routes that people have spent a lot of time and a lot of love naming, mapping, publicising,
Yeah.
and none of them have that one generic name. As far as I've never heard it anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Have to do this the sweet track next.
Yeah, the sweet track. I can't you know, I've been there twice.
Yeah. You
And
didn't
I've not-
find it though, did you?
Didn't find it all the time.
Couldn't find it, no. Never mind.
Never mind. Mr. James Archer, who will be listening to this,
Yes.
he's found it. I even asked the lady on the counter. Sweet track is like a very context. I don't even know the age. Certainly Neolithic, I'm going to say. Trackway made out of wood where they stuck stakes in the ground opposing each other, and then they went from little island to little island in the.
So it crosses marshes, doesn't
marshes.
it?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
preserved because it was in peat. Right?
Over
So they've got this
Oh,
like
fabulous, yeah.
5 or 6, 7, I don't know, whatever.
I don't know. It's a Glastonbury way, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, so you go there. Avalon Marshes is called.
Avalon
You go to the
Marshes.
visitor centre. So I walked like 2 miles around like the marshes, trying to find it because you can follow signs saying "Sweet Track this way." It's only a replica of what they've got on show, but who cares? Great. Couldn't find it. I must have gone like half a day. Went back to the visitor centre. She said, "Oh yeah, just down there. Turn left and you can see it." And I'm like, "Okay." So I went back. Couldn't find it. Come back another day because I thought I got a life to get on with. Still couldn't find it, and the visitor centre wasn't open on that day. So I still yet to this day to find the Sweet Track.
You will do, I'm sure.
Sorry.
Or the cut near Abingdon. But we won't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, he couldn't find that. And then, so after he told me, I went the day afterwards and took lots of selfies with it in the background.
Amazing.
For him,
Well
just
done, Hedley.
continually sending them to him.
Oh, that's still
Great
alive.
YouTuber, very bad navigator.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Treasure hunt to come.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is my first ever treasure hunt. I'd like to say I'm
great fun,
excited.
it's great fun.
I'm not sure that I am.
You should be. You should be.
It'd be
really
interesting
excited.
to see which side of the fence you fall on treasure hunt.
Yes, I'm,
Whether it's
I'm
on
yet
the
to
slightly
see.
disappointed crowd, which is my side, or the overly excitable camp over there in the corner.
Yeah. I feel like I may become treasure hunt adjudicator. I
Yeah,
feel
I
that,
think
that,
we-
that
sit
might
on the
be.
fence,
get
Yeah,
sprinters.
yeah. I don't know if that's neutrality is not normally my thing, is it? So we'll find out.
Yeah. I had a good week. I did the talk with Anna.
Oh, what?
Really, really good fun.
Which is online as
It's
well, wasn't it?
online, so we could put a thingy in the doobly-doo below, just using proper terminology there. Yeah, so we did, it's badged as a lecture, but it's more like a glorified PowerPoint presentation, I guess.
That's the
We're
difference.
just looking at aerial views of the Ridgeway and its surrounding area, and also kind of the paintings that Anna's done over the years. So explaining methods and, from both the photography and the artistic point of view as well, and talking a little bit about the areas as well. So
That's cool.
delved
isn't it?
into hill forts, and we had a good crowd.
So
Really,
you
really
so
good.
you gave both photography side of things
Mm-hmm.
and also artistic as well in terms of like
Yeah.
what are you looking for from that picture when you start painting and etc.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is
it's
cool, isn't it?
difficult to. I don't think maybe we could have been a bit more precise in our scoping of the lecture that we gave.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, it was aerial views of the Ridgeway
Yeah.
from both Anna and myself. So we're looking at. I seem to centre everything on hill forts. But we had an interesting conversation at the end with Dan Bashford from Historic England, who was hosting it. about the 3 hill forts at Whitehorse Hill, Uffington.
Oh, wow.
So you got Rams Hill, which is no longer there. It's all under. It's
See, I thought that was a causeway enclosure, Hedley.
Or it was quite possibly a causeway enclosure. Yes, yes. No, you're probably right. But either way, it was Hill 4T. And then you got Uffington, and then you've got Hardwell Camp, which is kind of in the bottom of the hill.
Right.
And I did go to try and put the drone over Rams Hill again to see whether or not it actually came out, and it didn't.
Oh, because it's so dry at the moment.
It's because the crops hadn't been harvested, so
fair enough.
the top of the field is fairly level.
Yeah.
More so than if it's not fairly level. If it's been harvested.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Isn't it remarkable? And it's not just there, it happens all over the country. You and I have had this conversation before about how nature, or man-made nature even, takes back something that was once really, really significant. And, you'll talk about something that probably was home to hundreds of people, was a business for hundreds of people all that time ago, and is now just in a field.
Yeah.
And is now someone's, again, it's someone's livelihood, but it's a different type of livelihood, and it's one person's livelihood. And unless you knew it was there, you wouldn't have any idea. And I just find that absolutely remarkable, because if you'd have said to the people that were living or working at that place back then, oh, by the way, one day this will just be an empty field, they wouldn't believe you.
But also I find it amazing that after so many thousands of years of, agriculture, let's face it, is heavy industry, isn't it, on the fields? It's, combines and ploughing and this that and the other. You'd think that there'd be absolutely no trace whatsoever. And yet you chuck a drone up. It's like Lowbury Hill, I was there last night. And again, we're looking at something, 2,000 years old, I guess, there, and it's still there. God knows what's happened since that was vanished, but the outline of it is still there.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It really is. I guess it's like saying, well, your point then, Kate, it's like saying, oh, look at York Minster.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 1,000 years' time, that would just be a flat field or whatever. And we're like, well, you can't do, no.
You couldn't even imagine it.
That's the most important thing in the world to a lot of people. Imagine that just being that. Well, we don't really do that now.
And this is it. It could. We don't know. We don't know what's going to be happening in 1,000 years' time, do we? And isn't it a remarkable thought? The thought of that fills you with dread, but it could. That could be the case.
Yeah. I guess it's that whole move, isn't it? Back then of people living on hills for defensive purposes and stuff like that, and then as things became, inverted commas, more civilized, they went down into the valleys where the springs were, and and everything up there was just left to go, sort of thing. But I'd like to. My thing is, I like to imagine what these places used to look like. So hill forts around South Downs and the Berkshire Downs, and Wiltshire would have all been gleaming white.
Yeah, you imagine that, because people all make comments, don't they? And say, oh, well, what do you mean? How can that be defensive? Like people talk about the Wansdyke, same principle essentially, and people say, how can that be defensive? How's that going to stop people? And you're like, mate, right? Number one, much more vertical. Number two, shiny white chalk like that. Vertical face of white chalk for 5 or 6 meters. Yeah. Well, you have difficulty climbing that on foot, let alone taking your horse
and then a fence.
Yeah, and then some ramparts potentially on top. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, just use a tiny bit of imagination and you'll see why, it did work as a defensive strategy, didn't it?
Yeah, and how could you make it more so? Do you see what I mean? With what you've got to hand.
What was there at those times.
Exactly.
And, we also, the attack technology has changed so much. These were blokes on foot. With a horse and maybe a bow and arrow and a sword and a shield. They probably didn't even have things like trebuchets at that point in time, and they certainly didn't have any explosives. And so obviously those things worked then. It wasn't that they didn't think about these things. They were thought about.
It was fit for purpose.
Exactly. And, the things that it was defending are different to what would have happened in different ages as well. So,
yeah. Interesting points, really.
Yeah.
So the talk went well?
Talk went well, yes. I was a little nervous, but of course Anna and I kind of bounce off each other a little bit, and she's got all the facts, and she talks about, actual facts of places and stuff, and then I tend to fill in with, it's very pretty, and it's a nice sunset there, and we saw this couple snogging, that sort of stuff. So I'm the very unacademic response to her sort of more informed kind of
Compliment well, I'm sure. Compliment each other well.
It seemed to go well. We got some good feedback. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Trains.
Oh, should we talk trains?
Trains.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love talking trains. I'm sorry.
I've got to explain. I mean, I'm in a minority here, obviously, because I know nothing. I'm a blank A4 sheet.
Yeah.
You've got a train on your top.
I have got a train on my top.
You've got trains in your blood because of disused railways and that.
Oh, yeah.
So all I know is there's pointy fast ones that go or like that.
Yeah.
Only they don't anymore. They used to clatter through the station. Now they kind of glide through. And then there's the chuff ones with, at Didcot where they put a face on the front and they call it Gordon or something like that. That's the limit of my knowledge.
Okay. Well,
So
I'm going to tell you a little bit about yesterday. Okay.
Go on then.
So yesterday, so we are filming this on the 3rd of August. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so this weekend, so from the 1st to the 3rd of August, there has been a thing happening in Derby at what is still an existing current train. The word has completely gone from me, but where they build trains.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to say factory because it's much more than a factory.
Yeah,
it's
like
a works.
a
It's a
train
works and a
works.
depot
Yeah, okay.
and these sort of things. It's currently owned by Alstom, which is a French company, but it used to be a British Rail works, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge. But we're in the middle of summer, and it's one of those old-fashioned factories that still has a 2-week shutdown. Mm-hmm. So what they've done with that 2-week shutdown and the fact that we are, this year, is everyone within the railways is celebrating something called Rail 200.
Okay.
Which marks the fact that on the 27th of September, 200 years ago from this year, so that would be 1825. Great maths there, Kate. Took me a second. The first ever passenger railway was opened in the UK, which was, in fact, in the world, which was the Stockton to Darlington Railway.
Okay.
Up in the north.
200 years.
200 years ago this September. And there is some argument as to was that the first railway, were other ones before, etc. But that's widely regarded as the date that we set
Can I
things
ask,
from.
would that have been like, is it Stephenson's rocket on trains look like that?
They did look like that.
Okay.
Yes, they did look like that. And they were open carriages at the time. In fact, there is still one that, at Beamish, which is a museum up near Newcastle. There's one you can actually go on, and it's very slow. And if you go on a cold day, which obviously they get quite a lot of up there, it can be a little bit like. But for people, that was revolutionary because that was the first thing ever that was faster than a horse.
Yeah.
And so, of course, because we're celebrating those 200 years, they made this decision to have this event in Derby this weekend that was called the Greatest Gathering. Great name, lot to live up to. And it's aiming to evoke the old, in the olden days, going back sort of 50 years or whatever, works like that would have open days where people could go and look at the trains that were being made and the trains that were... the trains that were being built there at the time and plus other ones that were stabled there and stuff like that, right? So they're trying to evoke some of that and also at the same time kind of trying to evoke some of the future of railways. And it was brilliant. I had such a good day. There were so many trains. There was a lot of trains.
So they had open days back then, so I'm guessing this is kind of not pre-industrial, is it? It's industrial. So there wasn't sort of competition between different train.
Oh, there was, yeah.
But would an open day not kill that sort of thing? You wouldn't want your competitors to.
Can I answer this one, Cal? Because my guess is these places, these factories you're talking about now, would have been part of the community and some, right? Like Swindon.
100%,
Swindon is Swindon now because GWR depot, right? Literally every street around Swindon, around the original sort of Swindon was called a place where GWR went. Whether it was London Street or Bristol Street or whatever. So I guess, would they have had these open days then? So this is a question. Would they have had these open days because it was a community thing, right? Come and see where your husband works or come and see where... Because I wonder if that's the case. Do you know what I mean?
I honestly, genuinely don't know. So I'd absolutely love if anyone could put, if anyone who went to these, that's listening to this podcast, that went to the olden to the open days of old, could fill us in a little bit. That would be great because I don't actually know. I don't know what the demographic were like.
Guessing is like come and see your local big factory, which is probably employing 75% of the people in this town for example.
And it was so interesting there yesterday because I guess if there was that mix back then, there was certainly a mix of demographic yesterday.
Yeah.
There was your hard and fast railway enthusiasts who were there with their notebooks and they're ticking things off and they're getting those numbers and that's what they want to do. That's what they're loving. There was families there with children. There were people who work on the railway who wanted to see what other bits of the railway looked like. Yeah. The kind of mix of people was absolutely... It was just really interesting to watch and see. And it was, I took my partner with me. My partner's not a rail enthusiast, although he was very excited. He wore a T-shirt with a pointy boy on it.
And he rocked the T-shirt.
Well, sorry, I'm going to ask a very obvious question.
Yeah.
What's a pointy boy?
The 125s, when we were talking about this before, and I told you
pointy,
about...
as in pointy train.
Pointy train.
The Ninos that go fast and...
Yeah. Those ones.
Yeah.
So when I said to you before about the fast pointy boys, that's a 125.
But I like those.
They're great. They're amazing.
But
Class
there's not
43.
many of them now.
Very few left. There's a few down in the southwest on the Great Western Line between Plymouth and Penzance.
So they're green.
They're green. Well done. Yes, go Hedley.
Come
on. But they're being phased out by the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And then once that happens, the only place that they'll run passenger services on those is up in Scotland. They've got some up in Scotland. They call them the Inter-7 City because there's 7 cities in Scotland. Yeah. And they're still running them up there. It's shorter consists than they were when they were running on the main lines, but they've got a few left. But yeah, he loves them. So he had one on his T-shirt. And he is not a railway enthusiast. Yeah. But as we were driving back yesterday, he was like, I think this was one of the best days out we've had for a long time.
Oh, brilliant.
Cool. Yes, it absolutely was.
I used to love the 125 as a kid.
Yeah, well, at Didcot, because I used to train spot in Didcot a lot with my father when I was like 10, right? And Didcot was a joy. We'd never stand on platform 1 and 2.
No one said that before.
We'd never stand on platform 1 and 2 because that was the fast lines, right?
Yeah.
And you'd have the HSTs just
and
going
then you got the Oxford
past.
branch line going off on the next platform.
But 1 and 2, you'd have seen 30 or 40 HSTs a day flying up and down.
They go quick. They used to go really quick.
125 miles an hour.
120,
Right, and I used to love that so much. And we used to go Pangbourne just along as well, and literally for the same purpose. And standing at Didcot Station was the joy of my childhood because you could see all the Class 58s from the power station going out of the coal-fired power station all day long. And on the platform 4 or 5, closer to the railway centre, you'd see a whole bunch of, and this is the beauty of back then, I don't want to sound like an old man going, back in the day, but you'd see so many different locos, like your greatest going. You'd see 37s, 56s, 50s, all sorts.
And that was what was so cool yesterday, because on the main lines now, we don't have a huge variety of trains, and there are reasons for it. Lots of people aren't keen on it, and I can understand why. But we've had much more sort of centralisation in procurement, even though there is so many different train operators around. They
all buy the same loco, right?
Yeah, they do, and they're all buying the Class 800s, IETs,
of course.
Which means intercity express trains. These are the new pointy boys, and they run on the West Coast Line.
So they're electric.
Yeah, they're electric.
Okay. Well, they don't have to, do they? 80 and 801, is that the difference?
So is it an 801 or an 802? I can't remember, but they're bi-mode. So they can run on diesel or on electric wires. Okay. So, for example, Hull trains have some. The line from Doncaster to Hull, and the last end part of that is not electrified. No. So they can run on diesel as far as Doncaster, say, and then turn on to electric for the rest of the journey to make them more energy efficient. It all comes down to energy. Yeah. It's all coming down to that. And the problem that I think... Oh my gosh, if I carry on about this, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be here all day.
I'm learning, it's fine.
The problem with them is, the reason that people don't like them is they've made the seats inside exceptionally uncomfortable, and there's just not enough room for luggage.
They do, don't they?
They run down the Great Western Main Line to Plymouth and that, which of course is full of tourists. Yep. It's full of people taking their bikes and stuff like that. There's not enough room to put the suitcases of the people that are going, and it's making them dislikable to the general public.
I used to get stuck in that accordion bit between between the carriages.
Oh yeah, that's good fun.
The number of times I've fallen into that, and it goes one way and the other, and I get squished and pulled. And
Doing that on the last train home is almost a spiritual experience.
The vomit comet. Someone had to say it. Someone had to say, if you've ever been last train back from Paddington to Didcot, it's terrible.
Yeah.
The thing is, you look at the GWR adverts, they're out now.
Yes.
Where they're advertising for you to go on holiday in Devon.
Yes,
Get the train. So
Get the train.
You need to make it a bit more accessible to a family, right?
Absolutely. And Scotland have tried really hard, and a lot of the Scottish railways now. So the trains that run up on the far north line, so they go to gorgeous places like Carraw and Fort William and stuff like that. They've designed the trains with extra space for bikes. So some of the trains even have a bike carriage. Right. So that because they know that cyclists are going to go up there, they've actually created room for cycling. And it's just a little bit of common sense, which unfortunately common sense doesn't necessarily mean reducing costs. And that's the problem. But even though I know I'm going to sound a hypocrite here because I have just not even breathed for the last 4 minutes as I've talked about this, despite myself, I'm not a trains person. Right. Okay, I'm a railway enthusiast.
Okay.
But it's not the trains that excite me as much as it is the railways themselves.
Okay. They can't do these days, though, can they? Because I agree with you entirely. I was a trains person.
Yes, when trains were exciting.
When trains were exciting, and you never knew what you were going to get. Literally, you never knew what you were going to get. And that was, for me as a kid, that was just joy. And now it's just a bit...
And even now, you can go onto Real Times Trains, which is an excellent website, and you can look at what, you can... I sit at home and I hear a train and I go on there and find out what that train is. Or... I wonder when I look on a Saturday morning, is there going to be something interesting coming through where I live? And I can look and see what it's going to be.
That's like flight radar with me, an aircraft.
Yeah, exactly.
Technology.
When you and I were filming a few weeks ago, we had that, didn't we? Do you remember? We were up and we heard a train.
Where were we? Remind me, which one?
We were doing the Navy one. I was wearing this T-shirt.
That was a 158.
Yes.
By the tunnels were.
No, it wasn't a 158. It was a freight train.
It was a freight train.
And it wasn't a Class 66, which is the freight train you see the most.
59.
I can't remember what it was, but it was something interesting, right? We were excited. We heard it, and then we looked it up and we saw what it was. Turned out it was somebody that I know that was actually driving it. It was a girl called Bessie who I know through railway connections, who was actually driving it that day.
Why was it different? Was it a quarry train?
Yeah, it was a quarry train.
So she so that I could be wrong, but if that's a Class 59,
I can't remember if it was a 59.
Like the old yeoman ones. Well, there's only like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
Same, like you wouldn't if it wasn't for the livery, you wouldn't notice any difference in terms of the train. But they're like twice as powerful or something. So
sorry, Class 59 is it a big, powerful diesel rattling thing?
Yes.
Not a fast one, just a talky,
opposite of pointy.
Opposite of pointy, slab-fronted.
Blunty-ended, very noisy.
So that's a Class 59.
But there's not many of them. There's not many. They look the same as a 66.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't one of those then. I can't remember what it was now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and but I could look up and find that out, and then saw on social media she'd been driving that train, so I could add that together and go, we didn't see you, but we heard you.
We're still underneath her, right?
Exactly. We were on the top of that bridge. She'd have been on the bridge driving, and we were filming, weren't we, underneath in the arches?
Yes. Yeah.
But all that mystery of trains isn't there as much as it used to be because you can overplan. But it isn't even the trains themselves that I love. It is the railways. It's the way that you can go on an adventure quite accessibly in this country, and the people as well that work on the railways and the people that have a passion for the railways. And that's what I loved the most yesterday was they had a couple of sheds that were full of railway societies and heritage railways and people selling things that they make related to the railways. And I just had so many conversations with people. I have a really big thing about, I love people that are passionate about what they enjoy. And I don't believe in things like guilty pleasures. I think we should be allowed to enjoy what we enjoy without feeling guilty about it. And so to have random nerdy conversations with total strangers was an utter joy. And it was just such a wonderful day. And unfortunately, they probably won't do anything like it again for another 50 years. Because it was huge. It was unprecedented. 37,500 tickets over the 3 days. Exceptionally well organised. Cool. Exceptionally well organised. I think I found myself once during the whole day feeling like I was in a crowd. It was so well spread out, so beautifully laid out. And I don't know if anyone who was part of the organisation team happens to be listening to this podcast, but if you are, it was absolutely cracking. We had a great day.
I went to Didcot Parkway Railway Place thingy, historic sheds and stuff. I think it's probably a slightly shorter name than that in real life, but I went there. And there was this gentleman...
Didcot Railway Centre.
Didcot Railway Centre.
Yeah,
I should know. I live half a mile from it. But I went there, and there's this guy in a uniform on the bit where you cross the railway, and people queuing up for him. So it's just sort of general information. So they're holding it. One lady was holding up a plan and said, "Where are the toilets?" He goes, "Down here, up there." Right, someone was saying, "Oh, what sort of, the age of that one in the shed over there?" And he's saying, "Oh, that's sort of 1940 something, blah blah blah." And it was an absolute queue for him. And he was really kind of, just pointing everywhere, everything, where can I eat over there? How much is this? And I needed to find something or other. So I went up to speak to him. He gave me the answer. I said, "How long have you been working here?" He said, "I don't know, I'm a coach driver. I've just dropped a load of people off."
That's amazing.
And it's people like that suddenly make you realise, he doesn't need to know any of that, but he does.
He does.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that robbed me of being a train or railway enthusiast, because I used to sit when I was a toddler, sit and watch the trains at Tilehurst where I lived. Yeah. And Steventon, took my kids to Steventon Level Crossing. To watch them there. But I think the one thing that stopped me is that I then went to the Formula One, and instead of having a train going past 125 miles an hour, I saw a Formula One car going past at over 200 miles an hour, and I was transfixed. And that's it, and I couldn't focus on anything else. And I think that's kind of a junction in my life where I maybe should have gone the train way, but
each into their own.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I was just saying. I think it's great for people to have passions in whatever it is that they choose to have passion in. And that doesn't have to be the same for all of us, does it?
Yeah.
And if it was, we'd all be a bit bored.
But you can see how much people like Francis Bourgeois.
Yeah, he was there yesterday. I didn't see him, but a couple of my friends
so
did.
He's a real enthusiast. Yeah. And he wears GoPro looking at his face.
Oh, that's
and he likes the slab-fronted noisy diesel ones.
Yes.
The class 59.
And he also likes the pointy boys. He likes all the trains. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of people derive him. That a lot of people aren't very... it's almost like it's their thing and they don't like that someone's popularising it.
Okay, I see, yeah.
And they take the mick a lot. He's not really a train spotter, etc. Now, to me, anybody who is publicising, anybody who is bringing awareness and therefore bringing people to, say, a heritage railway, because he's been to quite a few, or things like that, anyone who is then making people more aware. I don't like the word influencer, but anyone who is influencing people to go to those places that we are in this country so lucky to have when it comes to the heritage railways. We're exceptionally lucky. How can that be a bad thing?
No, exactly.
It's not a secret society.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't know anything. It's not like he's just coming and going, I'm trying to make a bit of money out of trains, and he's like winging it, because he clearly is not winging it. He's like...
But it's the same in everything. It's like, again, Formula One. The people who've been following it for decades, like myself, aren't necessarily more genned up on how it is now than the people who've been following it for 2 years. And if they're pulling new people in, they're closer to the levels than I am, then that's fine. Who am I, sort of thing? And you get that everywhere. And when I went to Lundy Island, there was this one person there who, if you said a fact about the island, this was built so-and-so, it just completely step in and say, well, you say that, but you haven't lived here for 20 years.
Same thing, isn't it? Ownership, isn't it, I guess?
I mean, how often I've said this before, you don't have to be an expert to enjoy something.
No. You become an expert through enjoying it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. But you don't need to know everything from the outset to feel like you belong as part of that community.
No.
And if a community makes you feel like you're wrong for not knowing that, like that example you just gave, then it's not somewhere you want to be and run your own path.
I've seen it in villages, you know, the sort of Handforth Parish Council style kind of, you know, I'm older, I've lived here all my life, you've only lived here 15
years. You have no authority, Jackie Weaver.
Well, she did.
Exactly.
But it's you know, you get that a lot, and I'm not going to name villages, but I know of a village just like that. You know, there's people coming in who are becoming, every village has got busybodies, right? People who do stuff at the centre of the village, and that kind of mantle changes over the generations. And as the older people, and again, I'm not being ageist because I'm kind of in that category myself, but as people become older and new people come along and, you know, start being active within the community, it's not nice to see the derision from the people that used to be like that.
No, and it happens all the time. The village I moved to when I was 9, which my parents still live in, we were so deemed as outsiders at the time. There was people in the village who weren't allowed to play out with me and my sister because we weren't from there, and, you know, we didn't have 3 generations back heritage. And now the irony is that we've been there for 30 years. All my family have been there for 30 years, and we're probably viewed by newcomers as, oh, they're those old footy-ders, they've been here forever. You know, and it changes, doesn't it? And I think we have to remember that sense of perspective on stuff like that. You
know, I always think that the village doesn't belong to anyone. The people there belong to the village. That's the way around it should be. That equalises everything. It's from excited newcomers through to people that have enjoyed it for years.
Do you know, we've got listeners on this podcast that have been wading through 40 minutes of us yabbering. They're only here for treasure hunt. And I feel really guilty because I think those poor people have listened to 40 minutes of podcasting.
How's my life?
And they've only been coming to this podcast for the treasure hunt. And well done to those people that have got to this point.
We need some rules around this.
Well, now, have we finished? Because I don't need to take away any more rail stuff. Okay?
I have rolled my eyes and taken a big swig of coffee. You can make yourself as accessible to treasure hunt as you wish.
Okay, so the problems we usually have is that I have a subject, which is an area within Wessex. We start in the centre of the known universe, which is Didcot, and then using warm or cold, Paul and yourself have to find where my subject is.
See, already...
But the problem there is you say, we go down the old Roman road. That's not on my Google Maps. I can only do up, down, left, right. Most people are listening rather than watching, so it's not even
Paul is the first person I've ever met that when he navigates uses an ordnance survey.
How do you not, people?
I use an online ordnance survey, definitely. In fact, I'm happy with that.
So. I use Waze like a normal human being.
But Waze only allows you one waypoint.
It does, but if I'm going somewhere, I don't need to know how to get the footpath to there if I'm driving.
Fair point.
Okay,
I do. I need to put in a few things along the way, Kate.
Yeah, which is why we've ended up stood in fields in the pouring wet rain. Thanks for
with
that.
holes in our shoes.
Okay,
right. So
how was my laptop gone off just by oh, there we go. Sorry.
I mean, you know, we're going to touch on a subject, I'm guessing.
Well, yes, there's always some kind of subject. I'm just going to choose because we're actually recording back-to-back episodes here, so I've got to choose one right between.
I mean, you know, where should I start? Should I start in Didcot? Because everyone loves Didcot.
Is it the railway centre?
Shall we? Let's do that.
Didcot Railway Centre, opened an exchange. I wish. Right, we're starting in Didcot. Here we go.
It's like Wordle when you get on the first word. We're starting in Didcot. Okay, right. So I'm thinking we should head south. Now, if you look at the Richmead area of Didcot, Hedley.
Richmead?
Oh, God, you live there. How can you not know the suburb of your own town, Hedley? Richmead.
I don't deal with suburbs. What are you on?
Richmead.
Okay.
Richmead.
All right, we're on to it.
See that little curve of the road? Well, that's an old railway. As you probably know, the Didcot, Newbury, Southampton
Didcot, Newbury, Southampton.
I think we should head down there.
I think that's a good idea.
Oh,
so you're getting sort of tepidly warmer.
Right, well, down there,
Heading
through Compton.
Of not giving Kate a go? No, fine.
I have never been to Didcot in my
Until you
life.
say you're wrong, Paul, then I'll hand the baton over. It's like the yes/no game.
All right, so
Surely, right?
We're going down, right, Compton. Okay, so yeah, you are warmer.
Right, Compton and Hampstead Norris,
Oh,
which
you're
is
getting
found in
warmer in
two
Hampstead
different
Norris?
ways. I'm just going on the railway, so I'm not like stealing anyone's fun there. I'm just going on the railway.
Terrible entertainment.
We're
Carry
going
on.
to
Hampstead
end up
Norris,
in Newbury.
even warmer.
Right, I'm going to get off my train there, Kate, and say
Okay.
over to you from Newbury.
Right, let me have a look, because this is brand new to me, and B, as we've established, Kate knows very little about Wessex.
So
That's
currently,
fine. I mean,
currently hovering in the town of Newbury.
hovering in the town of Newbury, which isn't far from here.
I will say at this point, you are pretty much red hot there.
Oh,
Okay, you're just gonna back this home.
Just
What's
to
the
try and
phrase?
Okay.
shorten this painful
This
section.
is quite cool.
Well, okay.
So just to give me the context, because I don't know very much about anything. Are we looking for a monument or a
Well,
place?
that's the joy, Kate. We don't know.
We don't know.
It could be-
Okay,
yeah, it
so
could be
if
talking
we're
about a tree.
if we're
or-
red hot at Newbury,
Yep.
Yeah.
am I headed east?
That would be... You'd be about the same, maybe slightly warmer.
What does that mean?
Slightly warmer.
Just slightly warmer.
So is it Newbury Racecourse?
Oh, no, you're very close.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Very
close.
You're going to talk about nuclear stuff.
You are red hot. You are red hot. You've got it.
Sorry, Kate.
Go on.
I apologise, but when
It's all good.
you've given it away, Kate, by saying Newbury Racecourse.
I had an interesting fact about Newbury Racecourse.
Do that because I've stolen your
Because
phone. I
it
feel bad.
has its own railway. It has its own railway station, Newbury Racecourse.
does
It
it?
has a halt.
Yeah.
There are very, very few racecourses left in the country that do. Most racecourses, and railway lines were often built around the same time.
Yeah.
Because the evolution of horse racing was around the same time as the boom in the railways. So a lot of them had halts. Most of them have closed now. But
Yeah.
Newbury still has an active
okay.
racecourse.
Wicked, which is
halt.
like what you could throw a stone from one to the other, right?
Yeah. You could literally walk from
Yeah, it's
Newbury
like- that's laziness,
town
isn't
to the
it?
racecourse, but you don't have to if they've got that.
And as you know, you could literally walk from the racecourse to where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
sorry,
okay,
Kate,
so
when you
where
said
are
Newbury
we?
Racecourse, Kate, I thought Greenham Common.
Correct. Well done.
Because Greenham Common is where loads of protests happened about the nuclear.
So,
Yes.
Greenham Common, for those that do not know, is a former RAF and USAF airbase. Very large, long airbase with a very big runway. And it was used for the storage of American cruise missiles. And that kind of sparked widespread protests, namely the women's peace camp. So my grandparents used to live right by the airfield, and my mum used to live down in Thatcham when it was a bit older, sort of thing.
Yep.
And we used to see the peace women there and stop and talk to them, protesting against the, I think there was strategic nuclear bombs. So we're not talking tactical, we're not talking destroy a battalion of troops, we're talking destroy a country, big ones. And they still got the bunkers there. So before the airfield was there, it was kind of common land and it was used for troop movements and a firing range. And then it kind of came into its own around World War II. So it was established as an airfield in the 1940s and then used by the US Air Force, as I said, in World War II. But it kind of became famous for the Cold War. Obviously, it was the chosen site for the deployment of these nuclear missiles. There were cruise missiles. But after that, after the cruise missiles were sort of taken away, eventually after the Cold War, it became the centre of Royal International Air Tattoo, which is the biggest air show in the world, still, I believe, which is obviously now RAF Fairford. Greenham Common, I mean, it had lots of accidents. My mum talked about some kind of plane crash that went into an ammunition
We're not
shed.
talking the nuclear side, we're just talking.
Yeah,
We
no,
said lots of
she wouldn't have been around to tell me that.
Exactly.
But she lived down in Thatcham. There was a humongous explosion there.
Right.
So anyway, as far as the airbase was concerned, it ceased to function. I think it was 91, closed 92. And it's now been transformed into like a nature reserve and heritage site. And I went and had a look around it.
Oh, cool.
Look at that. Nature taking back.
Wonderful.
Yet again.
Full circle.
There we are.
So the women's peace protesters were there for 19 years.
Really?
So we're not talking an overnight thing here. We're talking about, it was women from various backgrounds participating in the protests, vigils, demonstrations, that sort of stuff. And I think they even wrote "Ban the Bomb" on the side of Beacon Hill nearby. So everywhere on the airbase, you can see "Ban the Bomb," particularly from the control tower. So right opposite the control tower, when you go into it, you can see the hills, and it would have been the people who are running it, the USAF, would have seen that right in front of them. Let's have a look. I've got some notes here. So it did its job. So the protest brought global attention to the issue of nuclear disarmament and challenged traditional notions of activism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I went there with my wife and kids, and it's great. The wildlife has taken over. You can see where the runway used to be, and in the centre of it is still a patch of tarmac that you can go on. And you can see the nuclear bunkers as well. You can look right through them. So it's a wonderful place to go, and obviously free. The silos, I think they call them. And if you go to the former control tower, now it's kind of this sort of historical visitor centre, heritage centre.
What end is that?
That's on the north middle of the airfield.
Okay. You
can probably see it on there. It's got a big car park and everything as well.
Yeah.
So downstairs is kind of a cafe, and it's got like a timeline of everything that happened at Greenham Common there. And then you go upstairs, it's kind of a museum. I think there was an art exhibition up there when we were there. And then if you go right to the top, so you're in the glass bit at the top of the control tower, all the way around it's like a long photo showing what the view would have been like.
Oh, I love those sort of things.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I remember going along there and seeing, before the air show, the aircraft were huge. There were these C5 Galaxies coming in from the States with tails. We're talking something, pretty much the size of one of the A380s at Heathrow, being there. And they had the B-52s as well.
They're
so you're
huge.
looking at, big strategic nuclear bombers.
Combo band.
Yeah. No, not the band.
No love shacks, no rock
No
bombs.
love shacks.
That's really cool, Hedley.
And of course, they had the Vulcan visit for the air show as well.
Right. Cool.
Which probably broke windows wherever it went. It's so noisy.
We when I was growing up, we used to live near RAF Finningley, so we used to get all those same sort of things. Yeah. But the RAF Finningley is much more spaced out than that. Looking at that, that's quite. Looking at the pictures that I've just seen of that, it's a little bit more valleyed. Whereas Finningley's flat, so I can imagine the impact of those things landing was probably quite significant.
Noisy, they really are.
Yeah.
The beef. I'm not going to go into plane spotting so much now, but they're all the remaining stuff that's still in use today, like the C5, like the B-52s. They're all being re-engined with new engines.
Oh, they really?
And it's going to be really strange seeing these aircraft that are traditionally so noisy that scream and roar through the sky, sounding like a 787 coming into Heathrow.
That's
it's
bizarre,
going to be weird.
Isn't it? And, sorry to bring things back to trains, but I'm always going to do that. They did exactly the same with the 125s. So the ones we were talking about, they used to have these engines that were called the Paxman Valenta, and they were the big, noisy. When they started from cold, you could see the smoke. And
they one at each end.
Yes, absolutely. And then I think about the mid 2000s, so around 2005 to 2010, most of those places replaced those. And it was that same thing. People were very confused. They still made a lot of noise and they still did a lot of smoky, but not quite as much as they had when they'd had the Paxmans. And it was
no.
I think
I love the sound of those. They were turbocharged. So they had the whistle as well.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, got it. And that's it. There's nowadays you see park run being done at Greenham Common. It's a really nice, cheap, enjoyable day out where you get to walk around a nature reserve. You see nuclear silos. There are 3 monuments there because there were several accidents at Greenham Common, like the one I spoke about just now. There's a large memorial to a tragic accident that involved horse gliders, so the ones that were used like Pegasus, where my granddad was, World War II. And that happened on December the 12th, 1944. And at the airbase, 31 people lost their lives.
Gosh, that's a lot.
In a horse glider. Yeah, they used to pack people in those. And unfortunately, 3 days later, a B-17 bomber crashed on the way back from a mission in the kind of the industrial part of Germany. And there's a memorial to that. And then between those 2 memorials, you've got just basically another memorial to all US servicemen who gave their lives. So it's a wonderful place. I highly, highly recommend going. And it's cheap. Cool. That's all I got. So I think YouTube comments we'll probably save till the next episode.
Well, comments is one word. We got more like questions and queries, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we'll try and cover, because otherwise we end up reading the same comments from the same people, which is lovely of them to comment. We don't really
and to watch.
But
I think it'd be good to encourage people to ask questions, because we've covered a lot of stuff in this episode. So,
but also don't forget the other feature, which we need to put our features.
Oh,
in
we
early,
do.
don't we?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Homework.
Kate's homework.
Specifically,
we tongue in cheek said in the first Kate episode we should do Kate's homework because we gave Kate homework.
Yeah,
well, I think Kate should set us homework too.
I think that's okay. I please forgive me. I did not do my homework as planned.
You didn't watch 52 episodes of
I did not watch 52 episodes
Kingdom.
of The Last Kingdom. Do you know why? Because, I have 2 children and a full-time job, and I'm doing things like this. And what happened was, the very first time I sat down to watch The Last Kingdom, which I put my daughter to bed, turned on the TV, and the next thing I know, the episode had finished. And I'm not saying it wasn't because it wasn't engaging. I'm sure it was, but I was just exhausted.
I will just explain a picture that you sent, because you had a book called Wessex you were reading.
Yes.
And you sent a picture of yourself reading it, but all we could see was the last 3 letters.
Yes, that may or may not have been slightly tongue-in-cheek.
I can't picture that.
Putting the sex back into Wessex.
That was it. And so instead what I did was I went on Google and I went on Amazon and I bought myself a book on Wessex.
So what we need is Kate's homework for the next episode we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Would you not like to know what I found out in my book about Wessex?
I didn't realise we were there now. That's fine.
Well, that's it. So I did read my book on Wessex. But here's the thing. I read my book on Wessex during an all-inclusive week in Turkey. Okay. So here's some things that I know about Wessex, right? I know that there was at that point England was split into different kingdoms. I know that, and then I know an espresso martini, and then I know that King Alfred should have never really been king, because it's very unlikely that he would have been, because he was like the 3rd or 4th son, and it was just a remarkable series of events that led to him being king. And then I know about another espresso martini, and then
this is going to go downhill, isn't it?
I think so.
This is fine. And then I learned about how it developed from there into reincorporating back into the rest of England, and how that was more done through peace than through war, which is always a good thing. And then I know about an Aperol Spritz, and that was the end of the book.
Cool. Yes,
I mean, what a great
and I got
some sort of drunken
I also got sunburn reading it, because I was sat reading it, and so I'm blaming you two for that.
We'll take
the sacrifices I make for this podcast, and I'm only 2 episodes in.
See, had you have watched Last Kingdom, and I'm not advocating that The Last Kingdom is like this wonderfully truthful thing, but had you watched The Last Kingdom, you'd come to the same conclusion you just did then.
Absolutely.
Not sure about the martinis, but nevertheless.
Do I get expenses for an all-inclusive in Turkey for my research?
Wait, did we pay for this?
Yeah.
No.
Crikey.
Episode 5 already.
Wicked.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. Please like, subscribe, the rest of it, and we will see you in the next one.